Hi guys, it is Mr. Fed. Welcome back to the channel. I am back in the man cave. This is my first YouTube video in a while because my time and opportunities to make YouTube videos at the moment is smaller than a piss hole in the snow, much like the size of this YouTube channel. But if a game comes to my attention that I feel warrants showcasing, either for good or bad reasons, then I will try and go out of my way to do that. And the game we're going to look at today is this one right here. It's called Fantasian Neo Dimensions. Now, this is a game that I had not previously heard of. I think I found it just scrolling through eBay looking for games to buy. And it came up and I saw it was by Square Enix. Now, Square Enix is my favourite kind of game developer outside of first-party Nintendo titles. This is a turn-based strategy JRPG, and turn-based strategy JRPGs are my favourite type of game to play. Now, this game was originally released on Apple devices, which is unusual, which is probably why I've never heard of it. It was released in 2021, and it didn't get a port to home consoles as Neo Dimensions until 2024. So this game is written and developed by the same chap who wrote and produced some of the entries into the Final Fantasy series. This game is, for me, it's like a Final Fantasy game in all but name only. I mean, it is absolutely loaded with Final Fantasy DNA. It's definitely, you can definitely get Final Fantasy vibes. It's definitely from the same bloodline. I'd probably consider it more like a spin-off, really, from the Final Fantasy series. So, what's it all about? You control a character called Leo, you have amnesia, you wake up in a place called the Machine Realm, and you have absolutely no idea how you got there. So you set off on a quest to get back your memories. On the way, you meet several characters which will come to form, your party. And you will learn that these characters were previously gods, and they are in charge of protecting something called a divine artifact. And there is a baddie, there is a kind of a protagonist out there who wants to collect all the divine artifacts and destroy the world, destroy all the realms and keep all the power for himself. And it's up to Leo and your buddies to stop him from doing that. So, pretty standard JRPG story, isn't it? But, you only need a reason to play, and that is as good enough reason for me to play this game as any. So, there are 4 key differences from the Apple 2021 release to the home console release in 2024. So let's go through those 4 key differences. The first key difference is that you get more armor, more weapons, and more goodies, and that's great if you are a JRPG fan. You know that you can never have enough weapons, enough armor, enough goodies, enough accessories. The second key difference is the graphics. There are enhanced graphics. Some of the graphics and the aesthetics in this game are, for me, genuinely jaw to the floor. There were some moments in these levels where I was looking at the TV and it genuinely felt I could put my hand inside the TV and then just like scoop up a load of sand or, run my fingers through some of the rivers and the lakes. I mean, the upgraded graphics are really quite incredible, and I'm not a graphics guy, but some of the aesthetics in this game, I've never really seen them quite like it before. The third key difference is that it has voice acting. So the original release in 2021 didn't have any voice acting, it was text only. They have added voice acting to this game, which is, for me, key to any JRPG to really capture that kind of emotive storytelling. You can't imagine a JRPG, let's take Xenoblade Chronicles for example, being released without voice acting, because I mean, it's key to really sucking you in and engaging you in that story and making you feel something for these characters, which, after you give it enough time, you do, and you inevitably do. The fourth key difference, and this is the biggest difference of all, is the difficulty. So I think there were a lot of complaints on the original 2021 release about how difficult the game was. So they have provided an easier and softer difficulty setting. On this game, there is a hard mode. The hard mode on the 2024 release is the normal mode on the 2021 release. And this game here now has a normal mode, which I assume is essentially the easy mode. Now, I say it's easy, but my goodness, now I'm an experienced turn-based JRPG player, but this game has pushed me to my absolute limits on some of these boss fights. They are so difficult. How do I give this kind of an image reference? Let's take professional wrestling, because I'm sure if you're watching this channel, then you are a professional wrestling fan. Does anyone remember a wrestler called Goldust? He used to have a move called Shattered Dreams, didn't he? Where he used to drape his opponent's leg over the middle ropes in the corner, and then he used to take a big run up and then kick his opponent's square in the nuts. So playing some of these boss fights is a bit like getting Shattered Dreams from Goldust, but not just once, I mean repeatedly. Now, the game does give you a recommended level. So let's say you're going into a boss fight or you're going into an area of the game. It will say the recommended level needs to be level 40, for example. I would not recommend going into a boss fight at a level 40 if that's a recommended level. You'll need to be at least level 43. So what does that mean? Well, that means there is some JRPG grinding to do. Yes, some good old-fashioned grinding. So what do I mean by grinding? Well, I mean that if you get to the boss fight, you've fought every single enemy on the way up to that boss, and you've upgraded all your armor and done everything that you can to be as high as you can be in terms of your strength and your defense. It's not enough. You need to go back through the level, you need to find some respawning enemies, and you need to fight them to get some more EXP and level up a little bit more. So I have not beaten a boss, let's say recommended level 40. If I was level 40, I have not beaten that boss. I've had to go back and I've had to grind until at least level 43. However, the grind is not as bad on this game as other JRPGs. They have a device in this game and it's absolutely fantastic. I wish all JRPGs sort of picked up this device and ran with it. There's a device called the Dimension, I think it's how you pronounce it, the Dimension. And what that does is it allows you to collect respawning enemies. So you don't have to fight them in drips of like 2, 3 or 4 enemies at a time. You can collect them all in this Dimension, and you can collect up to 40 enemies, and then you can fight 40 enemies at one time. What that does is it saves a massive amount of time in battle. The second thing it does is instead of drip feeding you experience points, it will give you a massive chunk of experience points in one go. So leveling up in this game, if you need to grind, it's quite, it's not as laborious as other JRPGs that I've played. It's quite quick and quite good. So, I mean, I'm about 35 hours into this game, and you will still be getting tutorials on this game for about 20-25 hours. I mean, it's not really, until you open up your growth maps, which is essentially the equivalent of a skill tree. I mean, you don't get those until sort of 20-25 hours in the game. So it really kind of drip feeds you on your quest. It doesn't give you all the skills and all the powers that you can in the first sort of 5 hours. I mean, it really does make you wait until you can really access your character's full abilities. And when you open up these skill trees, I mean, that's when the game really begins, isn't it? You can really power up your characters, you can give your characters extra special abilities, you can give your characters finishing and special moves, and all the finishing and special moves, they all have really good sort of cut sequences as you execute them. In order to execute a special move, every time you do damage to an enemy or you take damage from an enemy, there's a little bar at the bottom corner called a tension bar, and when that tension bar reaches maximum, that's when you can unleash your special power and do like massive damage. I mean, not that it will help you too much in some of these boss fights, but it sort of barely gives the boss fight a kind of a tickle. The reason why, it will drive you to insanity, but the reason why you keep going back is because the boss fights are so good and so creative. Some of the best boss fights that I've ever had in a JRPG. Even when you lose, even when you die, and you will die, there will be attacks that will just wipe out your entire party with a click of your fingers. The game is so good, it makes you want to come back for more, and that is the sign of a great JRPG. So, in wrapping up my thoughts then, this is Fantasian, Neo Dimensions, released for home consoles in 2024. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. very, very close to a 9 out of 10. It is one of the best turn-based strategy JRPGs that I personally have ever played. If you've never heard of this game, and if you are a fan of turn-based strategy RPGs, then I highly recommend you pick this one up and you give it a go. You will not be disappointed. So that's it, guys. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.